one. He says he would have known you anywhere. You both look lovely. Come on in with me, Harvey. We must say hello to all our friends. Beg your pardon, Aunt Ethel, if you'll excuse me for a moment.
What?
You're standing in his way. Come on, Harvey. Go right on in, Harvey. I'll join you in a minute. Aunt Ethel, I can see that you're disturbed about Harvey. Please don't be. He stares at everybody like that. That's his way. Like he liked you. I could tell. He liked you very much.
Some tea, perhaps? Oh, not right now. I must be running along. But I'm so sorry. I'll be talking to you. Goodbye. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Where are you going? Up to my room. He's introducing Harvey to everybody. I can't face those people now. I wish I were dead. Come back here. Stay with me. Now we'll get him out of there and upstairs to his room. I won't do it. I can't. Pardon me. Here. Now, pretend I'm fixing your corsage. We've got to. Now, pretend we're having a gay little chat. Keep looking. When you catch his eye, tell me. He always comes when I call. Now, then, do you see him? No, not yet. How do you do, Mrs. Cummings? Smile, can't you? Have you no pride? I'm smiling. And he's my own brother. Mother, people get run over by trucks every day. Why can't something like that happen to Uncle Elwood? Hey, Simmons, I'm ashamed of you. This thing is not your uncle's fault. Ow! You're sticking me with that pen. That's Miss Ellerby. Keep looking, keep smiling. Oh, there he is. Mrs. Cummings is leaving. You must have told her what Harvey is. Hello. This is Mrs. Simmons. Should you come in the clothes you have on? What have you on? Who is this? But I don't know any Miss Rena Walt. Should you what? May I ask who invited you? Mr. Dowd. Thank you, but I believe there has been a mistake. Well, I never what? One of your Uncle Elwood's friends. She asked me if she should bring a quart of gin to the Wednesday forum. There he is. He's talking to Mrs. Halsey. Is Harvey with him? What a thing to ask. How can I tell? How can anybody tell but Uncle Elwood? Oh, Elwood, could I see you for a minute, dear? I promise you, your uncle has disgraced us in this house for the last time. I'm going to do something I've never done before. What did you mean? Just now, when you said this wasn't Uncle Elwood's fault. It's not his fault. Whose fault is it? Never you mind. I know whose fault it is. Now, lift up your head and smile and go back in as though nothing has happened. You're no match for Uncle Elwood, you'll see. Mother wants you. Elwood, can I see you for a minute, dear?
Why, certainly, sister. Excuse me, Harvey.
Elwood, would you mind sitting down in here and waiting for me until after the party is over? I want to talk to you. It's very important.
Of course, sister. I happen to have a few minutes right now, and you're welcome to all of them, Vita. Do you want Harvey to wait, too?
Yes, Elwood. I certainly do.
Jane Austen. Sit down, Harvey. Vita said she wants to talk to us. She says it's important. I think she wants to congratulate us on the impression we made at her party. Pardon me? Oh, yes, Jane Austen. Deluxe edition, limited. Oh, yes, Grosset and Dunlap. The usual acknowledgments. Chapter 1.
was never married. He stayed with Mother. He always loved his home.
And you have him with you now?
Yes, he's in a taxi cab down in the driveway. I gave the driver $1 to watch him, but I didn't tell the man why. You can't tell these things to perfect strangers.
Mr. Wilson, would you step down to a taxi in the driveway and ask Mr. Dowd if he would be good enough to step up to room number 24 South Wing G?
Ask him?
This is his sister, Mrs. Simmons.
Oh, yes. Certainly, I'll be glad to escort him.
Thank you. The rates here, Mrs. Simmons. You'll find them printed on this card.
That will all be taken care of by my mother's estate. The late Marcella Pitty Dowd. Judge Gaffney is our attorney.
Now we'll see if Dr. Sanderson can see to you.
Dr. Sanderson? But I want to see Dr. Chumley himself.
Oh, Mrs. Simmons, Dr. Sanderson is the one who sees everybody here. Dr. Chumley sees no one.
Well, he's still the head of this institution, isn't he? He's still a psychiatrist, isn't he?
Still a psychiatrist? Dr. Chumley is more than that. He's a psychiatrist with a national reputation. Whenever people have mental breakdowns, they at once think of Dr. Chumley.
Well, that's his office, isn't it? Well, you march right in there and tell him I want to see him. If he knows who's in here, he'll come out here.
I wouldn't dare disturb him, Mrs. Simmons. I would be discharged if I did.
I don't like being pawned off onto any second fiddle.
Dr. Sanderson is nobody's second fiddle. He's young, of course, and he hasn't been out of medical school long. But Dr. Chumley tried out 12 and kept Dr. Sanderson. He's really wonderful to the patients.
Very well. Tell him I'm here.
Right away.
Vida, isn't this wonderful?
Come on, buddy, upstairs.
Well, Mrs. Simmons?
Oh dear. I didn't hear you come in. You startled me. You're Dr. Sanderson.
Yes, won't you be seated, please?
Thank you. I hope you don't think I'm jumpy like that all the time.
Oh, of course not. So Kelly tells me you're concerned about your brother, Dowd, Elwood P. Dowd.
Yes, Doctor. Oh, Doctor, this isn't easy for me.
Well, naturally. These kinds of things aren't easy for the families of patients. I understand.
It's what Elwood's doing to himself, Doctor. That's the thing. We're right to nice friends. She's young. Her whole life is before her. That's my daughter.
Your daughter. How long has it been since you began to notice any oddity in your brother's actions?
I noticed it right away when Mother died, and Myrtle May and I came back home from Des Moines to live with Elwood. I could see that he...
Well, that he what? Well, don't strain, Mrs. Simmons. Let it come. I'll wait for it.
Doctor, everything I say to you is confidential, isn't it?
Well, that's understood.
Because it's a slap in the face to everything we stood for in this community, the way Elwood is acting now.
Mrs. Simmons, I am not a gossip. I'm a psychiatrist.
Well, for one thing, he drinks.
To excess?
To excess? Well, don't you call it excess when a man never lets a day go by without stepping into one of those cheap taverns, sitting around with riffraff and people you never heard of, inviting them to the house, playing cards with them, giving them food and money. And here I am trying to get Myrtle May started with a nice group of young people. If that isn't excess, I'm sure I don't know what excess is.
Well, I didn't doubt your statement, Mrs. Simmons. I merely asked if your brother drinks.